What's going on, guys? Ninja714 here. In today's video, we're going to be doing a Rainbow Six Extraction operator tier list. I've played a lot. I've done all of the studies in New York and San Francisco. I would say, about half the operators up to level 10. I have played the Maelstrom mode. I've seen videos of the assignment modes, but I haven't played too much of them yet. But I've gathered the experience from the videos. What else? I've played every map on the first two locations, all three levels on the highest difficulty, and I've done Alaska up to Severe, and I haven't done Truth or Consequences New Mexico yet. However, I have been a veteran of Siege for 7 years now, and I did experience the Outbreak mode when it came out. My quick review of the game is I'm having a lot of fun with it. I like the stealth, I like the cooperative stealth, I like the value of things in this game. Instead of it just being like, oh, you can die, you can live, you can kill that if you want, there is value, there's life and death, there's decisions to be made. I appreciate that. So we're going to start with, in the reverse order of this tier list, we're not going to start with Alibi, we're going to start with Vigil and work our way to Alibi. So first of all, Vigil, I think, is an S tier operator. I think that he's literally, like, the reason that there's not that many invisible abilities in video games that work is because they're insane. You think like Halo or Titanfall or whatever, you could spot your target even if they were invisible. They just looked like you dropped some fucking water on the screen or something. They were harder to see, but being truly invisible is strong. There's a reason that it hasn't happened. He is good for any solo player because if your buddies or just randoms piss shit off, you can just cloak and leave. If you're a cooperative team, you can cloak and blast through a mission without ever getting spotted. It's strong. I heard someone say that his kit is not great and you can't suppress any of his secondaries. False. You can upgrade the he has an upgrade where you get more react gear, I believe, as well. His K1A is a strong, reliable SMG. The MK14 is a strong DMR. DMRs in this game do a lot of damage. The Boss G is more for fun, just like it is in Siege, but it does do a lot of damage. But it's kind of a glass cannon thing. You're gonna, have to take your time to be precise to deal out that lot of damage, and you're going to be immobile while you take your shot. Well, roughly immobile. The SMGs, SMG-12 is, I would say, better. It has more ammo in a mag. You can control it relatively easily. It's definitely the harder to control of the two. But the sight picture is clear because you can use an optic and it's integrally suppressed, whereas the CZ75 has lower recoil. It's a bit harder to see where you're shooting, and with all the weak spots and stuff, it only gets more value now. And it does have a lower ammo count than the SMG-12, but not too much. It's not going to ruin your life. Next operator we're going to go to is Tachanka. I think that, meme's sake, he's at S tier. On the other end of the meme's sake, he's at D tier. But the truth is, I think he is a strong character for half of the game, which would put you at, like, B tier. I believe this is Smoke. Yeah. I think that Smoke is an S tier defensive operator. If you're at any point defending an objective, you can toss a smoke on yourself or your friends and be relatively invulnerable. This will stun enemies and put them into the position where you can do a takedown on them or kill them with your weapon, as well as the effects of the toxic side of the smoke. Most of the time, if you try to do a takedown on someone in smoke, it'll just kill them before you even finish the animation. It's strong like that. This means apexes are spawning random enemies. You don't have to worry about that. It does good damage to the apexes. The mutation with blinding spores and sludge and stuff like that, it'll just rinse them. It's basically like an area of purification. His kit's really good. He starts with the L85, which is a strong Rainbow Six Siege weapon. That was like whenever you teach someone Siege, you're like, all right, play Sledge, use the L85. It's easy to control, no nuances, nothing interesting. It's a strong, versatile weapon. Next thing he has is the shotgun. Shotguns are strong, but I do not like them. I think that they're their range deficit and the inability to suppress them if needed, as well as the ammo count, does not make them viable. He also has the FMG9, which is what he had in Siege. It's a good, accurate SMG, but for the same amount of ammo, you can get a stronger, even more accurate with an ACOG L85. He has the P226 and the SMG11. I like machine pistols, but if you don't, the pistol is very strong. Simple. Sledge, I've not played around too much with him, but he does have a similar kit to Smoke. So you can take my weapon rating and put that on Sledge. So we'll just talk about his ability. I think that his ability is fun. I think that the fun factor puts him at a C or B tier. I do not think that he serves an actual genuine value, though. I think that if you need to get through a wall, you have impacts, you have, if someone's running a shotgun for whatever reason, you have, and I've noticed that if you go to like the bottom corner of a wall, you can just shoot out a corner. You don't actually even have to do that. And most of the time, you don't even really need to go through a wall. If you're trying to go through a wall, you're probably doing something wrong, or you're in a hurry. And due to his animation, if you're in a hurry, you're still going to kind of be behind. I think that he is a lot of fun, though, because, like, you could have a friend in a bad situation. You can run in there sledgehammer first and stun a smasher and annihilate him and his entire family tree, and the fucking just go off. And I think that that is what keeps him out of D tier. I think that fun factor, like, here, in, like, the C tier, you can safely bring them into the first two difficulties on any map and enjoy yourself. Rook. I'm going to put him at B tier because I think that he's efficient for half of the gameplay mechanics. I do not think that he is a strong stealth operator. I do not think that he is a strong offensive operator, but he is a pretty good defensive operator. He does fill a niche. And this is, whenever you have body armor, you will not go down. You will not get knocked out into stasis foam. When he levels up, you have a good amount of speed. When he levels up, you automatically equip body armor to yourself without having to use your ability, and you also have it on VIPs, which is good. But I don't think I think he does have the 417, which is a DMR. It's a strong DMR, but I don't think that the value that it serves would outweigh, like, picking Lion, for example. Pulse, I think, is an S tier scanner. He's good for playing with a coordinated team or playing with yourself, because you can, you leave the airlock, you move like 10 feet forward, you pull out the scanner, you have permanently pinged pretty much all of the nests, and if you eliminate all of the nests and all the roaming Archaeans that are on the map, you do not have to worry about any more, unless you have a defensive objective that spawns more of them, but it won't agitate any nests because you've already cleared them out in like 2 minutes. Nomad, I think, is below Ela, which we'll get to later, and for that reason, I'm going to put her at A tier. Her weapons are good. The AK is a strong weapon. The slug shotgun is a fun weapon. The ARX 200, I think, is her most lackluster weapon because of, no, second most lackluster, because it has a low ammo count, despite maybe having better recoil control or whatever. It just doesn't serve the same value. If you have trouble with recoil with the AK, you can just slap a one-time sight on it or something. Also, her pistol, the 44 Magnum with the scope, due to how it was being used in Siege, it used to have 0 recoil. Now it has a lot of recoil. It has a good reload speed and high damage, but it's naturally unsuppressed, and it cannot be suppressed, which is a problem in Extraction, because normally you want to suppress your secondaries and let your primary deal all the damage. She can be fun for that reason. Maybe you like the idea of having a suppressed weapon with an ACOG, but when you unlock her pistol, you can just slap a suppressor on the PBR 25, I think it's called. The M9, Caveira's gun, Capitão's pistol. And her ability kills almost half of the Archaean ecosystem when you level it up. Like, it'll kill grunts, spikers, bloaters, etc. on impact, well, like when it goes off. So anything in that cone gets eradicated, and it's effectively silent. It makes noise, it triggers and stuff, but like to the game mechanics, it is a silent weapon. So you can nail a Rooter, and no one will react to it, and that is some incredible value. And anything that it does stun, it stuns for a good while. So it's efficient, but I think Ela is more efficient because it regenerates and it goes on for longer. So you can make up for Nomad's insta-killing ability by stunning a handful of enemies and then laying them all out with your gun. Lion. Do I think that Lion is better than Pulse? I think that Lion fits a different niche. Lion is a defensive scanner operator. So you hop onto the serial scan, or you're doing the bomb objective, sabotage I think it's called. You hit the scanner whenever you start that objective, and it's going to give you a top off on where the enemies are coming from the beginning, and by the time it recharges, you're towards the end, so you can put a sweet cherry on top and complete your objective with the knowledge of where your enemies are. It also can help you the second you drop into a game just to hit your scan, because by the time you're done droning or carefully roaming the map, it'll be back for whatever objective you need it for or whatnot. And it can kind of tip you off to where enemies may be, and it could save your life that way. His gun, actually, you know what, I'm putting him up here. I was trying to find a caveat, but I just remembered his guns. Since you can change your loadouts with the knowledge of your objective, for example, if you have a serial scan or a defensive objective, you want to use the V308 for its ammo count and easy reload speed. But if you know you have a Protean or an Elite Hunt or something that maybe you would want to have some range for, he has the 417, which is like the strongest DMR in the game, and you can just run that. Simple as pie. His pistol is a good high ammo count pistol, and the reason that it's good to just have a high ammo count pistol is because, you don't need to be dealing damage. It's not about the damage because you're suppressing it, and it's about how many weak spots you can hit and how many shots you can put into something without having to reload. Because, like, for example, let's just say you have a revolver that's suppressed with 6 rounds, like Alibi. You go into a room, you put 2 into a nest, 2 into another nest. You now have 2 shots for that spiker, that other spiker, that bloater, and that grunt. But with a P9, 4 shots into a nest, 4 shots into a nest, 3 shots into the 2 grunts, and you've only spent 14 out of your 17 rounds, which means you can take out the 2 spikers and a grunt, and, you know, your room is now clear, and it's got a fast reload speed as well. He does have the revolver, which I think is good for fun factor, but is inefficient. I think that it's just like for fun. I believe this is Jaeger. I think that Jaeger is a good choice, but right now I'm contemplating if he is better or worse than Smoke. I think that the pistol runs out of ammo surprisingly fast, and I think that most of his weapons selection is lesser than Smoke's. The M590 has more range, the L85 is better than the MP7 and the HK416. The FMG9 is better than the MP7 and the 416. I think that the only thing that Jaeger may have over the, Smoke's kit is the SG552 Commando, which does do a good amount of damage for 30 rounds. I would say it's better than the L85, although it doesn't have an ACOG if that's your thing. The gadget he has does bring a lot to the table. You can place these down because they're defensive or offensive objectives. They're turrets. They will target blinding spores, they will target enemies, they will do a lot of damage, and if the turret runs out of ammo, it has one, final, dead man's hand, it'll just, blow up, and it will do massive damage to that target. I don't think it's enough to kill, an Apex outright, but it will annihilate a lot of things. I've had it one-hit, elite grunts when they weren't supposed to and stuff, which is a negative effect. But but it will take blinding spores off of you. But since we now know that you can just use any of your non-lethal grenade gear to take care of that, it's not that special. Yeah, I think that's all I really have to say. IQ, I think I'm going to put next to Jaeger because she's a good scanner operator. She can help you find your medkits near react gear and find apexes and stuff. But I think that she is also, on the scanning side of things, less than Pulse and Lion, because those two fit, like, finding enemies and finding nests, and then she's the missing link for finding crates, but you never really need any help finding crates. And then her gear is pretty much the same as Jaeger's. However, she does have the AUG. It's a strong starting weapon. It's got, good recoil control, good ammo count, etc. And then when you max her out, get to level 9, she has the G8A1, which is a 50-round LMG, which has good defensive capabilities and a good reload speed. So it's good for just taking out general grunt enemies and stuff. There is the argument, though, that the SG552 is better for general damage output. Like, you can stun a Tormentor in one Magnum, but you might get into some trouble with the G8 because its damage is spread out over 50 rounds instead of 30. Next up, we have Hibana. I'm going to put her up here. We kind of got a lot of S tier operators, but that's because there's kind of like a couple of god squads in this game. And it's always good to have your, an organization where you're going up in ascending order with more operators in that ascending order, because that means that the game is more fun and balanced, even if some people may not agree or think so. But back to Hibana. I think that her Kairos is very strong. So, for an example, you have the aberrant nests, the green nests. You can shoot 4 of your shots on 4 nests, pick up one of the, 75 ability recharges, and shoot 4 more nests, and then you can take those out because her ability in Siege used to take like 6 seconds to go off. In Extraction, you click the button and it goes off in, I would say, half a second, maybe a second. So it's instant and it's high damage, and you now, let's just say you have 2 players, you have 8 nests out. You only need 2 more nests. If you're playing alone, you don't even need to get the second ammo because you'll have 4 nests down and you can shoot the last one before it even spawns an enemy. And also when you level her up, I think it says her Kairos Pellets does 680 or 480 damage, which is enough to one hit in Apex. I've seen clips of it. I haven't had the time to do it myself because once I maxed her out, I stopped playing her. But a lot of people just complain about her weapon kit, and that's because her Type 89 has an ammo and recoil issue, which I don't even know why it's like that, because in Siege she's like really undervalued now because her weapon throws all over the place and you can't kill more than 1 enemy effectively. And then she is subjected to the same machine pistol issues as other characters, where they have a hell of a lot of recoil and reduced damage. When it comes to her, I value the Bearing 9 so much better than the P229 that I keep the Bearing 9 unsuppressed and the primary weapon suppressed, because it's good to have a couple of characters with a suppressed primary with an ACOG, and it's accurate enough to make use of it, and even with a suppressor, you can still 1-mag rooters and stuff. You're going to be switching between your weapons so much that the higher ammo count, even though you're spending the ammo faster, the higher ammo count Bearing 9 should be the unsuppressed one for a bit more damage. Because with the recoil kicking around and stuff, you need increased damage to make up for your missed shots. P229 is like a 0 recoil weapon. It sounds nice to fire suppressed, but I have a machine pistol fetish. She has the Supernova, which is a suppressible shotgun, which is always good, especially since the Bearing 9 is unsuppressed in my situation that I've got here. However, since you are planning on suppressing your weapons, I actually run the MP5SD, which you get at the end of her leveling, which is integrally suppressed and has 30 rounds and good recoil control. I've had no trouble with it whatsoever, and it's got a fast reload speed. That's definitely the best weapon because it has the most capabilities and fits the suppressed lifestyle. Gridlock, I've seen her. she is very strong, I think. Her saw has good reload speed. Her starting weapon, the F90, has good reload speed as well. Both of the weapons have a good damage output. The F90 has 30 rounds and the saw has 60, but they reload. They're mag fed. It's not a belt fed M249. It's a mag fed, and you can get that reload off pretty quickly. So the damage output is good. I believe she's a slower character. After upgrades, I mean, because by default she is certainly very slow. She's a 3 armor 1 speed. Her ability, though, kills most basic enemies before they get to you, as long as they're walking through the tracks, like the whole line of them. Otherwise, it makes audible sounds and will tip you off to their location. As you level them up, it does more damage. It will trap more enemies, and like when they're destroyed, they'll cause an explosion. And this explosion is actually enough to stun a Smasher for a takedown. I think that stunning a Smasher for a takedown with the Trax is another opportunity to do so, but I wouldn't waste a Trax to do it. If you have a paralysis grenade or a stun or etc., it's better to do it that way because of the utility of the Trax and where you'd want to use them. I would say for this reason as well, her pistols are kind of subpar because I forget the name of it, but her semi-automatic pistol actually has recoil despite being a semi-automatic pistol, which I don't like, and the Super Shorty is a unsuppressible shotgun secondary, which means you would have to suppress her primary, and I think that is reduced efficiency despite the damage output of the Super Shorty. I think that there's just a better opportunity to get a more pliable kit than Gridlock. So for that reason, I'm going to put her at A or B. I think that she's in like appropriate play. I think she is not less than Jaeger for sure. I believe this is Fuse. I'm going to put him at B tier. The reason for this is because I've seen arguments where he is very useful, and I've seen arguments where he's very not useful. Here's my thoughts on it. First of all, the AK-12, very fun weapon, although it has a decent amount of kick to it. He has the LMG that's called like the 6P41. It's the PKP Pecheneg. It's got 100 rounds, 45-hour-long reload speed, but I've just speed ran levels, and you can one mag a whole level, so it's kind of good to have a weapon where you don't have to reload the entire level, and while you're transitioning from subzones, just reload then. If you pick up an ammo kit, an ammo crate, it will automatically reload your weapon regardless of the animation, and that can be efficient for LMG users as well. I forget if he has access to the shotgun, but I'll just say the Russian shotgun, the SASG-12, has pretty good recoil control, good damage output, and it is possible to suppress, which makes it, they have a higher value than some, even though the unsuppressed version obviously is going to deal a lot more damage. His ability, though, is the main controversial point. Right now in Siege, there's an objective called Kick the Anthill. He is fucking incredible for it. He is just flat out the best pick. However, for general gameplay, I think that he does not perform. He can be fun. You can do the aberrant nests where you take out the green nests very quickly. I think that in Maelstrom, you can clear out rooms that may have given you trouble because the game does howls based on sightlines, and irritating a nest can really make it or break it for a game. And if you just use your cluster charge to take out some enemies in a room, they may be attracted to the sound, but in no way, shape, or form are they going to see you, which means in no way, shape, or form are they going to howl. And if you back off or find another point of entry, then you will have maintained your stealth entirely. No issues. However, most of the time you can just go about it a different way. You can scan your enemies, methodically clear out each enemy, lure them away, or stun them, or whatever. And he's also a man of significant size, so he's harder to move around. But I think that he does have a purpose in some of these objectives. Finka. We're about to get to Doc. I have some thoughts about the healer characters. I think that Finka is less than Doc. So we're gonna put her at A tier. The reason for this, her weapons, first of all. She starts with the Spear 308, 0 recoil when her ability is active. Most weapons do, though. When her ability is not active, it has a surprisingly high volume of recoil that's pretty simple to control, but it could take you, it could surprise you. When her ability is active, you can increase ADS speed, reload speed, etc. That increased reload speed, you can reload the spear near instantly. Like, you don't, it is a very big difference, so you can really feel it and see it. I would say that it does a good amount of damage. What I was doing when I was playing Finka a lot is, like, if I saw an Apex, for example, I could paralysis nade it and use my Finka ability so that I have no recoil and totally laser beam the Apex's face off. And in one mag, I'd have a dead Apex before he could even wake up from the paralysis, or just after he does. And that's pretty incredible. However, her LMG is a similar effect as, it's the same one as Fuse, and it's a similar effect as the spear in most scenarios, and her ability speeds up the reload speed of it, but you also don't normally need to reload it. But having a no recoil 100 round mag LMG is a lot of fun and very efficient. Very good for defensive capabilities, and the ability in and of itself, adding temporary health, just like the Back for Blood, to any point where you can take temporary health damage instead of real damage is going to be triple as better. Triple, just like it's going to be so much better, because any point where you take an actual hit to your real health is another opportunity where your character is either going to go MIA or be injured and unusable for the next level. And at first it's like 20 HP, and as you level her up, it goes up to like 60 or whatever. That is pretty awesome. But the problem is, when the 20 seconds is up, you lose your health. It's done. And that's unfortunate. She does have a ranged revive, but so doesn't Doc, so I think the Doc is just better around the board. She does have a very good set of pistols, though. The PMM has a very fast reload speed, good damage for even being suppressed, and the GSH-18 has a lot of ammo. I think it's either 18 or 19 rounds, and that's the same argument as I gave for Lion's P9. Ela, I think, is a top-tier operator. I think that she has incredible stunning capabilities, which can be defensive, offensive. It's so versatile is what it is. You can live your own life and still help your team. You can mainly help your team. You can solo levels. You can, it can get you out of a sticky situation. If you've pissed a bunch of things off, you're getting surrounded and you're out of ammo, throw one at your feet. The arcanes around you are going to be stunned for like 10 whole seconds, which means you can either reload, shoot them all, take some down, throw another one, use a grenade. There's so many opportunities for that large window. And then for any of the objectives where you need to do like biopsy, where you have to do a takedown, or any of the defensive objectives like serial scan and sabotage, or the proteans where they send out the hordes, sometimes the elite creatures that you need to kill are tough, or the things you need to kill to summon the elite are tough, like killing smashers to summon an Apex. They all just need to be stunned. It adds more opportunity to stun, or a replacement kit item. So for example, you do not need to run stun grenades. You can run nitro cells, or you can run scan grenades, or something like that. It allows for that versatility as well. As for her kit, man, I use the Scorpion the most, probably because I just like it the most. I'd wager that maybe the LMG is better. Or if you are comfortable with the recoil control, the M792 is better. But here's my arguments for that. The Scorpion. When Ela came out on Rainbow Six Siege, the Scorpion had 50 rounds, increased damage, and 0 recoil. Over the course of 2 years, they nerfed it into the ground. In Siege, it's borderline unusable. In this game, it's also almost unusable because it just kicks and bounces and it fucking seizes up. And fortunately, it's easier to use your aim assist and your PC mouse aim and stuff like that to take down weak points quickly, or just aim for center mass and eliminate them. Whereas in Siege, a split second is all it takes for someone to crouch lean spam around a corner or one tap you in the head with their gun that's superior, you have a bit more time while the enemy is charging at you or firing slow pace shots at you or whatever. And the increased ammo count does have a lot more sustainability and has a good reload speed, which is also important for sustainability. The LMGE has 150 rounds, which is more than Fuse's or Finka's LMG, which I think I need to bring up and highlight because that means if you could do with Fuse's LMG where you could clear an entire level without reloading, you can certainly do it with Ella's. Otherwise, you shouldn't go through 150 rounds on one objective unless shit is really getting heavy with like an Apex or something. But she also has the FO12, which is the best, I'm not even going to argue it, the best semi-automatic shotgun in the game. The SASG-12 has recoil, the slug shotguns are kind of their own category, and the M1014 has a slow fire rate. The Super 90 isn't present in this game, but it also got a slow fire rate. And the FO12, you can lay out 11 shots in like a couple of seconds of high damage, just destruction. You can demolish walls, you can demolish enemies, you can absolutely destroy tormentors and stuff like that. However, I think that shotguns have less value. It does get an increased value because it does have the option for an extended barrel or a suppressor, which is gnarly. What else? The M792. Another story. Last year, people started complaining about Sophia, I guess, or maybe it was just Siege devs seeing a win rate thing. So they nerfed the rifle, and it now has a fuck ton of recoil. It is no fun to use in Siege, and it ruined the gameplay experience. So people just use the LMGE, and I feel that the same thing is applicable here. It has a decent reload speed. It has good damage. It's just got a lot of recoil to it, and it's okay to control. You can get it down, but it's just not as fun. It's not as accessible. I think that for that reason, I like the other ones. Her pistol, though. Her pistol is the only pistol currently in the game until they add Sophia in the future update to have a red dot sight on it. Like, the machine pistols are capable of putting one on it, but this is an integrated red dot sight semi-automatic pistol, and the only other character who had that, I think, was Warden and Clash with their, like, red dot sight Glock P10C, I think it was called, which is a pretty good gun, but it's not in this game. So the RG-15, I believe it's called, is a very strong weapon. Go to ammo count with 15 plus 1, and it's able to be suppressed, and it's got a good sight picture. It's very easy to place stealthy shots. When the red dot is over their head, you shoot. It's simple. And the suppressor does not obstruct that sight picture at all. I don't think she even has an option for another secondary, but I could be wrong. I think that's all I have to say about her. Next up, Doc. Putting Doc up here because Doc is better than Finka. The reason that Doc is better than Finka, he's a chunkier boy, he's got more armor, so he can take less damage. That's the first thing. The second thing is his stims heal for roughly the same amount as Finka's, but doesn't just last 20 seconds. It lasts for as long as you need it. It is like temporary health, like picking up a med kit. I believe every 5 seconds is 1 tick against your temporary health or something like that. It's either 5 or 20 seconds or something like that. And that means 1 shot of temporary health outside of taking hits in combat, well, let's just say it's 10 seconds a tick. That means that 1 shot gives you, let's just say 30. That's 300 seconds of temporary health before you have to worry about your, first hit in combat doing damage. And 300 seconds is 5 minutes. No, I won't break out the calculator. We'll just use my guessing power. Yeah, because 600 would be 10. So you divide by 2. And then due to the ability recharges and how many shots you get, I think it's somewhere from like 3 or 4 or something like that. So even if it's at the low end and it's 3 shots, 20 health a shot, you spawn in, you give each of your teammates 20 health, including yourself. You pick up another ability recharge, you give everyone 20 more health. you pick up an ability recharge, you give everyone 20 more health. At this point, you've probably come across a medkit or two as well. Now everyone has 200 HP by default, pretty much. And you now have a stock of doc shots for if anyone goes down as well. So it's pretty insane. I don't know if they're going to nerf him. I believe somewhere Ubisoft stated that any strong characters are going to become the baseline, and the lower ranked characters are actually going to be improved. They're not going to nerf stuff, they're going to buff stuff, because that's for fun factor. His kit, I would say, is actually less than Finka's in most scenarios. The shotgun can't be suppressed, but it does do a good amount of damage. The MP5 is accurate, reliable, good reload speed. The P90 is relatively accurate, relatively reliable, good reload speed, high ammo count, decent damage. And for that reason, I use the P90 in the Outbreak mode a lot. I see a lot of people gravitating to the P90 in this mode, and I think it's just because of the extended combat potential. He also has the P9, which is strong. The revolver's good for fun, but, you know, I believe Doc has access to V308. But you know what? We're just gonna go check real quick. Don't mind this screen. Elgato cam. Doc. So I don't have him fully leveled up yet. Oh, he has. Okay, the 417. So, 417 is the strongest DMR in the game. It can absolutely rinse the opposition. So that's that. Let's go back to desktop cam. Capitao. As you may have spotted on that screen, I've played Capitao once. I think that his ability is smoke, but cut into two portions. You have 2 shots of venomous smoke, whereas smoke has 4. You have 2 shots of normal smoke, whereas bringing react gear gives you 3. So you are kind of a lesser of those two. It's kind of like a jack of all, master of none. And I think that value brings him down a lot. I think he needs to be brought up to be consistent with the rest of the team. When you get to level 10, he does get 4 of each type, which means 4 smokes. So now you're in line with smoke, and 4, 4 venomous smokes, so you're in line with the smoke operator, and 4 normal smokes, so you're actually getting 1 more smoke than react gear. But when you restock react gear, you now have 6 and etc., and it's easier to find react gear than ability recharges, just out of the general economy of the game. Also, like, if you're running with a Doc, he should be taking it, and if you're running with a Rook, he needs to replenish his armor, etc. There's just too much competition for ammo. Not ammo, for the boxes. Also, his gear is not 100% incredible. He has the Para 308, which is a battle rifle, FAL. It's fully automatic, got a 30-round mag, it's got good reload speed, good damage, decent controllable recoil. It's a versatile, stable weapon. He also has the M249, which has a 100-round mag for the same amount of damage and the same fire rate with better recoil. The M249 is certainly an incredible weapon for the same reason that if you use Finka, etc., you can clear a whole level without reloading. You can clear a whole objective without reloading, etc. But I do not think that redeems him, because there's other characters with LMGs and even better LMGs like Ela. He has the Spaz 15, which is a strong mag-fed semi-automatic shotgun, but it does not have a suppressor. It does not have 10 rounds, which puts it below the SASG-12, FO-12, and other shotguns as well. He also has the M12 SMG, which is Caveira's SMG in Siege. It has the same ammo count, lower rate of fire, relatively similar recoil, and half the damage of the M249 and Para 308, which is why I don't even know why I was put in this game. This is a silly choice. Progression-wise, it should have been first in the list so that you could get better entries into your kit as you leveled up the character. But given Capitao's ability, I think it's good that you start off with strong weapons to counteract his not-so-great ability until you level it up. I don't think that he serves a purpose when there are other things that do his jobs better. So for that reason, I'm actually going to put him at C, because he's not even really that fun to play, but he's playable. Oh, no, fuck him. He's going to be our D tier operator. He is my least favorite operator. A lot of people agree. Last one's Alibi. So, Alibi. I think Alibi was one of the first people that I got to level 10. Maybe Ella was first, and then it was Alibi. You can use her gadget defensively for like serial scans and sabotages and stuff like that, or even at aberrant nests when you're clearing them out and it's spawning enemies. Maybe kick the anthill as well. Pinging and scanning the enemies is good. Distracting the enemies, absorbing shots, etc. That's all good. It does take increased damage, and when you level her up, she has an ability to have one attached to a drone, which can draw enemies' fire even better because they won't destroy your drone. Some will, like if a breacher goes off, it's going to blow up, and in an Apex, if it drives over your drone, it's going to also have an issue. But like, for example, there's the kick the anthill objective. You can throw an alibi in there, or put an alibi drone in there, and have them attract them to a wall for fuse, which is a supportive role. But I do not think that there is an offensive capability for the alibis because, first of all, they don't deal damage, but also, since to the Archaeans it's an exact duplicate of you, they will howl when they see it. So this means don't put the alibi drone out there if, you know, you're trying to be stealthy, because they will scream immediately. Else, her kit. The MX4 Storm is a fun weapon, but it has relatively volatile recoil. The ammo count is okay. It's got 30 rounds. I think it's a good starting weapon for her. It definitely increases as you progress. The pistol that she has as well is the Bailiff 410, which is a Black Ops 2 Executioner style shotgun pistol with 5 rounds. It does a lot of damage. It is a mean sweeper, but since it's a secondary that you can't suppress, it kind of loses points. MX4, fortunately, does make a good suppressed weapon alternative. Kind of just have to flip that general rule on its head when you play Alibi at first. The next thing is the ACS-12, which is the slug shotgun AAA-12 with a drum mag that gets like 20 or 30 rounds. It has destruction capabilities. It does a good amount of damage. I believe you cannot suppress it though, which means if you don't have the Keratos, which is the suppressible secondary for Alibi unlocked, you are going to be running dual unsuppressed weapons, which you just shouldn't do. You can, but you shouldn't. When you unlock the Keratos, it is a 6-round revolver that you can suppress. It's a bit jumpy when you shoot it, but that's okay. And it does a good amount of damage even with the suppressor. So that's good. That is a positive influence. Running that with the ACS-12 can be viable, but it does not have the same range as other slug shotguns, so it kind of falls off fast, especially compared to the final weapon. The Amelie, the LMG, it has 80 rounds, a good reload speed. Her ability, one of her abilities says that increases her reload speed by 35%, which is going to greatly improve your efficiency with the weapon as well. Let's see the name for it. The Alda 556. I think that that's definitely the best weapon for her, along with the suppressed 357 Keratos. I think that she doesn't have a use in high-level play, but she can get you through the early game and help you learn the stuff. She's definitely viable. So I'm going to put her at C because, like Sledge, she's fun, the weapons are fine, but I don't think that her value comes through when you want to play the game. Yeah, I'm satisfied with this. Do I have any ending thoughts? No. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, leave a like. If you didn't, comment down below whether you liked or disliked the video, and be sure to check the description for my friends and family's YouTube channels, Twitch streams, social medias, etc. They may provide a better niche of content than I do. However, I will tell you that I have a large variety on this channel, and soon, when summer comes around and I get out of school and stuff like that, I'm going to have a better content quality, more consistent, and soon I'm going to have a better PC for recording and doing PC-related videos. I do car mechanics vlogs, trip vlogs, experience vlogs. I do gameplay videos for tips, tricks, guides, funny moments, montages, etc. on CSGO, Rainbow Six Siege, Rainbow Six Extraction, Back 4 Blood, technically even Left 4 Dead, Call of Duty Zombies, Call of Duty campaigns on veteran or realistic where it's realism where it's applicable. I have an alter ego called Dale. He's playing through the Far Cry series and the Red Dead series soon, as well as like Shadow of War content. And there's going to be more to come with future game releases, so I'm definitely ambitious to keep creating content for you guys. So I hope you guys do enjoy, and I hope you guys have a good day.